This is working well. Hold on. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just fix something real quick right here. Here we go. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we're going to begin with our state expedited accusation calendar with the State Court of Fulton County for today, December 14th, 2024. These are misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon after being booked in, their cases were formally accused by the prosecutor, who is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. So therefore, this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. Today, when I call your case, I will let you know what is your new accusation number, the charges that have been brought against you, to appoint counsel where necessary, and also to set a bond. Depending on the charges brought against you and the nature of your criminal record history, if any, some of you may qualify for what we call a signature bond. That's a bond in which you would not have to pay in order to be released, but you must comply with certain conditions. Comply will result in your signature bond being revoked and amended to either a surety bond or a cash bond. A surety or cash bond is one in which you would have to pay in order to be released, and that can be either out of your own pocket through a bonding company, or if you have equity to pledge in real estate. Now, for the defendants, when I address your case, please remember your right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of the case. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Now, if you are not an attorney, please listen carefully. If you are not an attorney, if you're a victim, a family member, or friend showing up in support of a defendant, please make sure that your Zoom panel is on mute and your video is off. Please make sure your Zoom panel is on mute and your video is off. So unless you're an attorney, please switch off your video and mute yourself. You can come back on the Zoom once the defendant whom you're interested in addressing is on Zoom. Okay. Courtroom 2, who do we have first?
We're gonna start with position number 16 with our private counsel.
Right. And who is representing position 16? Let's see. That would be Artem Stetsuk, accused of willful obstruction of an officer and simple battery family violence from December 13th, 2024.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. That's me, Ryan Walsh.
Walsh.
How are you?
Doing good. Walsh?
His wife is also on the Zoom call.
Okay, sounds good. So Mr. Stetsuk has been advised of his right to remain silent, and his counsel is Mr. Ryan Walsh. Mr. Howard, any priors?
No.
Okay. Mr. Ham, are you the prosecutor for this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and what is the recommendation?
Recommendation is for count 1, simple battery, signature bond through pretrial. For count 2, obstruction of a law enforcement officer, signature bond through pretrial. No further violent contact with Mary Randall, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Excuse me. And Mr. Walsh, do you have any objection to the bond as described?
Judge, I don't have any objection. We would like to see if Your Honor would consider a cash or surety bond in the amount of $1,000 for each offense. He does have no priors. He is a regional manager for a large corporation and does do some traveling across the Southeast area. So I would prefer it if he could make a bond through cash or surety, but I understand it's up to Your Honor.
On the willful obstruction, it's going to be $1,500. On the simple battery, it's going to be $1,500. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. You'll need to report to pretrial once a month. I'll allow for telephonic or however, Mr. Howard, do y'all allow for email reporting or telephonic reporting?
Nah, they don't do email.
Okay, so it'll be telephonic then?
If you order it.
Okay, I'll allow for telephonic reporting. Within 45 days of being released on bond, Mr. Stetsuk this is family violence here. Mr. Stetsuk is going to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program that is typically a 26-week program. It is weekly classes, and he will enroll and show proof of enrollment to his pretrial officer. At the end of completing the classes, he will present his certificate of completion to his pretrial officer. This is condition of a domestic violence bond and not an adjudication of the case. The prosecutor may always look favorably upon a completion of the DVIP to consider alternative resolution to this case. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And Mr. Stetsuk, please make sure that you report once a month. Mr. Walsh, once he's completed the DVIP, you may approach the prosecutor to see if they will consent to a signature bond through the jail.
Yes, Your Honor. And just for the record, there is a no violent contact.
Yes, no further violent contact with the victim, so he may return to the marital home and so forth.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will explain anything that's necessary to him and his wife.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next case, please.
Position number 9 through 15, Ms. Rowland.
This is Reagan Rowland. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 matters before the State Court of Fulton County. Ms. Rowland, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Jawan Haddad. On position 9, her accusation number is 24 CR 8151C, one count of theft by shoplifting from August 9, 2024. 24 CR 8152C is one count of theft by shoplifting from August 15, 2024. 24 CR 8153C is one count of theft by shoplifting from August 13, 2024. 24 CR 8154C is one count of theft by shoplifting from October 25th, 2024. Case 24 CR 8155C is one count of theft by shoplifting from November 12th, 2024. And case 24 CR 8156C is one count of theft by shoplifting from December 2nd, 2024. That is a total of 6 counts of theft by shoplifting over the time periods just indicated. Mr. Howard, any priors, please?
6. A couple of probations from 2022, 2021, criminal attempt to commit a felony conviction. 2021 DUI suspended license conviction.
Thank you. 21 was a DUI and driving while license suspended conviction. Okay. Mr. Ham?
Yes, Your Honor. The basis for the alleged offenses and the 7 counts of theft by shoplifting all stem from the same Target store that is located at 5950 State Bridge Road in Johns Creek. The defendant,
I'm sorry, Mr. Ham, I did miss one, didn't I? I'm so sorry. That was 24 CR 8157C, theft by shoplifting from December 3rd. I beg your pardon. I didn't mean to interrupt. Please continue.
yes, Your Honor, each one of those days, the defendant was observed through the self-checkout lane, skipping over items, such as on October 9th, she skipped over and purchased, she skipped over an item at self-checkout, which was 2 Matchbox cars and a Hot Wheel track set. She was observed returning to that location several more times throughout the years. The officers were available to finally make connections about who this person was, and they went back and was able to track the amount of purchases that she made over the different times. On November 12th, they were able to get her license plate through the flock camera system, and they ran a check, and it came back to the defendant. They looked at her driver's license ID as well as the surveillance video and was able to confirm that she was the same person who took these items from this location. The state is asking for $1,000 surety bond on each separate case, Your Honor, and to stay away from all targets.
All right. Mr. Haddad?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, my client is 45 years of age. She lives in Alpharetta. She has 3 young kids, 12 and under. She recently started working at a Costco, Judge. I would ask the court to consider perhaps a $500 surety bond on each charge. I mean, there are 7 cases. The difference is, unlike some of the cases of shoplifting where somebody gets arrested, bonds out, and recommits. I mean, these are, 7 instances. She was finally arrested, and I would just ask the court to consider, if not pretrial, then a $500 surety bond on each, Judge.
It's going to be $1,000 on each count. That's a $7,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 3. I want her to report to pretrial once a week. Within 15 days of being released, I want her to undergo a BH evaluation and submit herself to any treatment that's required. This is called a behavioral health evaluation. She will have to go to either a psychiatrist, like psychologist, or any kind of mental health therapy to get an evaluation and submit to herself to any treatment that's required. She will continue to report to pretrial once a week and stay away from the Target store at 5950 State Bridge Road. She'll be also required to stay away from all Target stores in the state of Georgia.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Please remember that she has to report to pretrial once a week and maintain a current address. If she gets arrested again for anything else, or if she does not report to court or does not report to pretrial and doesn't get her BHET done within 15 days from today, then I'll do it till the end of the month. Yeah, 15 days she should be able to do that. And then her bond will be revoked to either a no bond status, a cash bond, or a surety bond. Thank you.
Position number 17, Ms. Tubal.
This is Renata Two Bowles, accused of public drunkenness, disorderly conduct, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and terroristic threats and acts from December 13th, 2024. Accusation 24 CR 8150F. Ms. Tubals, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Haddad. Any priors, please? I've got 8 cycles.
Yeah, I got open case out of Philly, disorderly conduct, public drunk. Louisiana, public drunk. New Mexico, ag battery. 2022 FTA. 2021 public drunk. 2011 ag battery. And a resident of Montana.
Tanner. Okay. All right, quite a bit of a distance from us, but Mr. Ham?
Yes, Your Honor. Based upon the distance, the history, we believe she may be a failure to appear at future court hearings. Being that she's not a resident, she has no ties to the Georgia community at this point. The state is asking for count 1, public drunkenness, a $1,500 surety bond, disorderly conduct, a $1,500 surety bond, obstruction, another $1,500 surety bond, and terroristic threats, $3,000 surety bond.
Mr. Haddad?
Your Honor, even though my client's address shows a Montana, she reports to me that she has been living here since 2020, Judge. She provided me with an address in Stone Mountain. She does live with her boyfriend, Judge. She reports to me that she works essentially in housekeeping by cleaning B&B residences, Judge. Although initially, I mean, I understand that the state's concern. I do think based on the address that she provided me, she does live here. And I would just ask the court, if not inclined through pretrial, is a lower bond, so she's able to bond out, Judge, post bonds. Thank you.
So is that Montana address from a driver's license?
I would suspect so, Judge. She's I don't know where she's originally from, but that she did live in Montana. And I suspect the address. I did not ask her specifically, but I suspect often when they make an arrest, the license. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't want to.
So according to the Alpharetta citation, her name is Renata Nell, Nell. Her last name is Tu. And on the calendar, she's got a name Two Bulls.
Your Honor, I suspect that there might be some Native American behind it. I don't know. I did notice that, Judge. The warrant. I thought the warrant said
The
Two
warrant says
Bulls.
Bulls, but that could be a typo. So I just
Right.
need to know.
Well, I mean, obviously, we can ask her. I did not clarify the specific last name, Judge.
All right. Miss Renata, what is your correct name? Got her name Two Bulls.
Two bulls.
Renata
Grenada, two bulls.
Two Bulls.
Yeah.
Is that
Renata.
the name on your driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the way it is shown on your driver's license.
Yes, it does. I have my driver's license on me. If you want to see it, it's spelled that way. Sometimes I
Show it to the deputy.
okay. Wait, two bulls.
Okay, Two Bulls. And is that a Georgia driver's license or a Montana driver's license?
It's a Montana. I haven't changed it. I should have.
All right, thank you, Miss Two Bulls. You may take your driver's license back. Anything else, anything else to add, Mr. Haddad?
No, Judge, nothing else.
All right. On the public drunkenness, that's going to be $1,000 surety. The disorderly conduct is going to be $1,500. Willful obstruction is $1,500, and terroristic threats is going to be $1,500. The total bond is going to be a $5,500 split bond. The public drunkenness, she's had quite a few cases involving that, so that's going to be a surety bond. The remaining charges, the $4,500, that's going to be a signature bond through pretrial. Level 2, no illegal drugs and no alcohol until this case is resolved. She'll be subject to random screens for illegal drugs and or alcohol by the pretrial services. Within 30 days from today, she is to amend her driver's license to a Georgia driver's license with her correct address and her correct name, and present a copy of that to pretrial services by her 4th visit. No, let's make it a 5th visit. Her next court date is going to be December 26th. Unless she bonds out, then she'll need to maintain a current Georgia address. So she'll need to give us her Georgia address within 30 days of being released so that we can send her notice to show up to court. Thank you.
That's per judge, Michael.
ACDC, go ahead.
Oh, ACDC, Francois, you're there?
Yes, good afternoon, Judge. This is going to be position number 6, Ms. Patterson.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Patterson, my name is Judge Lal, and please remember you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this afternoon is going to be Ms. Maureen McLeod. Ms. Patterson's accusation is 24 CR 8143G, accused of pointing or aiming a gun or pistol at another. Well, for a change for this week, at least she's not 18 years under the age of 18. But Mr. Howard, let's see now. This is Miss Patterson's second arrest. Prior arrest was from 2003, tampering with records. Mr. Hem, any recommendation?
Your Honor, state's recommendation is a $10,000 surety bond just because of the nature of the crime. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with her son in this case, who is a cross defendant and should also be in this calendar.
Mhm.
Anger awareness course. On December 13, 2024, the defendant is accused of having an altercation with her son. She pulled out a gun and pointed at him. The son showed officers a video of the defendant holding a gun in her hand, and the defendant stated that she pointed a gun at him. Or excuse me, the victim said that she pointed a gun at him, so he started recording it for his safety. So based upon those facts, Your Honor, that is what the state's recommendation is.
And is the alleged cross-defendant Dorsey?
Yes, I believe he's also on the calendar.
All right, courtroom 2, do you have a Jack Dorsey position 2 in your room?
6.
Oh,
This is State versus Jack Dorsey, accused of battering family violence from December 13th, 2024. His case number is 24 CR 8142G. And Mr. Dorsey, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Haddad. Is that correct?
I'll be representing him today, Your Honor.
Ms. Madison?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And with regards to Mr. Dorsey, looks like he had a 2022, oh, he has an open case in Warren, Ohio for theft by receiving stolen property.
And he's a resident of Warren, Ohio, according to the booking.
Okay. So 1, 2, I've got 3 cycles. Would that be correct?
It may be more. That was relevant. I mean, that
Okay.
was what was important.
All right. And Mr. Ham, do you have a recommendation for Mr. Dorsey?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation for Mr. Dorsey is a $2,000 surety bond for battery family's violence, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Stay away from the victim in this case, which would be his mom. Have no further violent contact, I should say.
Mhm.
Take anger awareness course as well. The facts are that his mom has alleged that she started having problems since he started living with her. They got into a physical altercation. He grabbed her by her wrist, pulling her around the apartment and causing her to run into the furniture. He also grabbed her by both of her legs. She said that at that point, that's when she grabbed her gun. Officers were able to observe physical swelling to Miss Patterson's wrist, as well as a scratch on her hand, and they noticed that she was limping favorably on her right side. So given that I would assume his recent move to Atlanta, and the fact that he does have his permanent residence right now in in Ohio, we're making that recommendation, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. McLeod, what's the recommendation for Ms. Patterson?
Your Honor, I'll be asking for signature bond for my client. I think the warrants speak for itself. This is her home. She's having some issues with her son. She does tell me that he's 33 years old and he does have some special needs, which she was hoping that the conditions of her bond and his could be no further violent contact, and with a recommendation for him to do a MHET and follow through with any kind of treatment. My client tells me that he really doesn't have anywhere else to live, and this is her son, but he does have some special needs. But I would certainly be asking for signature bond for my client. She denies, of course, that she pulled the gun out on him, as the state is saying, and pointed it. She said she just happened to have her gun. Nothing further, Your Honor.
And Mr. Haddad, anything on, oh, excuse me, Miss Madison, I beg your pardon, anything on Mr. Dorsey?
Yes, Your Honor. So he is 33 years old, and he's currently enrolled in college pursuing his bachelor's degree in computer science. He's not currently working right now, so it would be an extreme challenge if he's required to have a surety bond, Your Honor. With him having little criminal history and never being charged with something of this sort, and with his mother actually desiring to actually have contact with him and considering his mental health needs addressed by Attorney McLeod, we're hoping that you would consider granting him a signature bond. If he were not granted a signature bond, Your Honor, it would be very difficult for him to be released because he doesn't have any income.
Where is he going to live? Can't live at home.
If that's the case, if Your Honor would put in a bond order that they cannot have any contact, he does have a different address located. I have to get the exact street number, but I believe 123 St. Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. I have to get the correct street number, but he does have a different address that he could reside at.
And who is at that address?
I believe it's a family member's address, Your Honor.
According to the warrant, his other family member is in prison. So who is it?
I would need to ask my client who else resided at the other address.
Or two. Mr. Dorsey, who is there?
It's my dad's brother.
Your uncle?
Yeah.
Uncle what?
Emmanuel.
Uncle Emmanuel Dorsey?
No, his last name is Mormon Cofield.
Sorry?
Mormon Cofield.
Cofield.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, Miss Patterson, this is a firearm related charge, and although you got a minimal arrest record, I don't issue signature bonds on firearm related charges. I believe that firearm gun owners should be responsible, and if they get arrested because of a gun related matter, they are clearly capable of paying for their responsibility. On the pointing or aiming a gun or pistol at another, your bond is going to be set at $1,500. It's going to be a surety bond. No further contact with Jack Dorsey. You are to stay 200 yards away from him and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. You are to make sure that you maintain your current address, or if you change your address, make sure you let us know if you change your address in writing. And your next court date is going to be December 26th. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and definitely no weapons and no firearms. Any and all firearms that you own shall be surrendered to the police authorities for destruction within 7 days of being released. With regards to Mr. Dorsey, his bond is going to be set at $2,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Miss Mignon Patterson. He is to also stay away from 970 Sidney Marcus Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia. Within 30 days of being released, he will update the court with his current mailing address, which I guess will be with Uncle Emmanuel Cofield. And if he continues to reside with Mr. Cofield, he'll need to make sure that he stays 200 yards away from Miss Patterson's home and her person. He doesn't communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. This next court date is going to be December 26th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Position number 3.
Somebody's typing. Could you mute your screen if you're typing, please? Thank
Sorry.
you. No, that's okay. Zachary Gallion is accused of battery family violence from September 6, 2024, under case number 24CR 8145E. Mr. Gallion, this is his 11th arrest. Anything else to add, Mr. Howard?
2018 marijuana, 2017 terrorist threats, battery, cruelty to children, dismissed.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ham, what's the recommendation?
State's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Stay away from the incident location of 634 White Hill Street, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia. To have no further contact with Kyra Gibbs. And to take an anger awareness and course, Your Honor. Facts on this case are September 6, 2024. 911 call was placed by Ms. Gibbs after reporting being assaulted by her boyfriend. They took her report and documented her injury. She said she had went to go pick him up from a gambling house. The victim advised that he attempted to take her property, and in the struggle, she suffered an abrasion to her left eye and indicated that they have pain. The victim and the defendant do live together. And if we can, sound for the victim, Kyra Gibbs.
Ms. Gibbs, if you're on Zoom, please unmute and start your video. All right, this gentleman who just showed up on Samsung, what's your name? Disappeared again. All right, thank you. Ms. Madison, are you representing Mr. Gallion?
Yes, Your Honor.
No? Go ahead.
Well, he's 57 years old, Your Honor. He's a disabled veteran that suffers from PTSD and other physical ailments. He is taking certain medications right now, which may be difficult to obtain if he's not released from the Fulton County Jail. He doesn't have a whole bunch of income, Your Honor. And again, he's a disabled veteran. So we are hoping Your Honor would consider a signature bond.
Okay. Ms. Gibbs, last call. If you want to contribute, you need to unmute and start your video. All right. Mr. Gallion, on your bond, it's going to be a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. Once you are released on the bond, you will report to pretrial services twice a month. Within 30 days of being released on this signature bond, you will enroll with a qualified domestic violence intervention program and complete all 26 weeks of classes at your expense. Please make sure you submit your certificate of completion to your pretrial officer. No contact with Kyra Gibbs, and to stay away from 634 Whitehall Street in Southwest Atlanta. You will need to update the court with a new address within 30 days of being released. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. If you want to retrieve your belongings from the Whitehall Street location, you have a right to a one-time visit, but you must be in the company of a police officer to retrieve your belongings. That visit cannot exceed 2 hours. Thank you.
Position number 4.
Lareco Ramel Herring is accused of battery from December 13th under accusation 24CR 8144C. Ms. Herring, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Madison. Any priors, Mr. Howard? I can remember that one.
Second arrest, 2018 sale of marijuana, dead docket.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ham?
State's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial to have no further contact with Asia Jones, to have no drugs, weapons, or firearms while out on bond. This incident happened on December 13, 2024 at 3281 Bachelor Street in East Point. Ms. Jones advised that she was assaulted by the defendant in this case after he went in her purse to try to take money out. He will try to walk away from her after taking the money. She grabbed his jacket, tore his coat. He became irate over this, and he pushed her to the ground repeatedly and caused scrapes and bruises on her legs and knees, Your Honor. And officers were able to observe the multiple injuries to her legs and knees.
All right. Ms. Madison? Any objection to the no contact and stay away?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right.
Well, actually, my apologies. I did speak with Ms. Jones earlier, and I believe she stated she was fine with having contact, that she was not at fear for her life in any way or in fear of him in any way, and that she did want contact. I did send her the Zoom link to this meeting earlier. I'm not sure if she's on or not.
All right. There's someone in a puffer jacket. If you are Miss Asia Jones, please unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand.
My
Is that
phone's
your
on
right hand?
silent.
All right. Solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So how long have you known Mr. Herring?
It's been about a year and a half.
Y'all live together?
Yes.
Y'all live together?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Where the incident happened.
Bachelor Street?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Ham, this will be battery, domestic violence?
It will now, Your Honor. We were unaware that they were living together, so this charge will change from battery to battery family violence.
And Miss Herring, why are you comfortable with Miss Jones, why are you comfortable with Mr. Herring being back home?
Because he's fine. It's no issues.
That doesn't tell me anything. He's arrested. Clearly there are issues.
I mean,
there'll be issues.
You said what, ma'am?
I mean, he's arrested. Can't you see him? He's sitting in a courtroom with handcuffs on. Clearly there are issues. So I need you to articulate to me, why are you comfortable with him coming back and sharing the same home with you?
Because he's helping me with my bills.
So you want him back because he's going to contribute to your household expenses?
I mean, well, we have expenses together, so it's just like it was a very big misunderstanding.
Thank you. Ms. Madison, anything else to add?
Yes, Your Honor. When I spoke with Ms. Jones earlier, she stated, and I'm sure she would probably state today if requested, that she does not actually fear him in any way, that this is not something that's happened on a recurrent basis, that she wants him home. She's not afraid of him or in any way whatsoever. And so we're hoping that it can be no violent contact, as opposed to no contact whatsoever. My client is not working right now. As she stated earlier, they do share bills. And even though money shouldn't necessarily be a factor in considering whether someone should be allowed to come home or not, I believe the accused victim stating that they don't actually have any fear, that this was actually a misunderstanding, and that she actually wants him back home. I believe that should be considered.
But he's contributing to her bills, because that's what you just said, but you're telling me he's not employed. So where's his money coming from?
Right. So my client stated to me earlier, my apologies, Your Honor. He stated that
he's working somewhere. We can unmute courtroom 2 and hear the real story.
He is working. He is working, Your Honor, and I believe he has an income commission. He's income commission based only, so he doesn't have a stable income. My apologies, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to get the real story, or somewhat real story. Okay, on the battery, which the state is going to amend to battery domestic violence, because the alleged victim and the alleged defendant live together in the same household per the victim. All right, courtroom 2, please unmute. Mr. Herring seems to have a different tone on that.
Yes, ma'am. I don't currently or haven't lived there. I just come by every other day to make sure she's okay, but I live at the address that's on my current address.
So she just lied to me?
No, she didn't lie to me.
She's been living.
No. What I'm saying is
Stop. I, at point blank, asked the victim, does Mr. Herring live with you? She said yes. Then I asked her, why do you want him back? And she says, he helps me with my bills. So now you are telling me that you do not live with Miss Jones?
What I'm saying is I see her on an everyday basis, so I don't.
You both are telling me a story.
No. What I'm saying is I don't live there. I visit her every day, so we're together on a daily basis, and I may sleep there every now and then. But my actual address is 4602. So if we're actually together every day, then it would seem like yes, we're living together. But however, my address is on my
Where? 4620 where?
4602 Newcastle Circle. That's my address.
No. I want you on record to tell me your exact address and speak slowly.
4602 Newcastle Circle.
How do you spell Newcastle?
NEWCASTLE.
Circle?
Circle. Yes,
What?
ma'am. Stonecrest, Georgia.
That is nowhere close to where she lives.
Right.
All right. First of all, Mr. Howard, Mr. Jordan, excuse me, Mr. Jordan, the address listed on Odyssey is incorrect. According to Mr. Herring, his address is 4602 Newcastle Circle. And we've got the wrong spelling on that. So if we send him his summons, I want to make sure that he gets it and doesn't give me any BS about not getting notice. Second of all, I'm not certain what's going on between the two of you, but if Miss Jones has just told the court something incorrect, then that blows her entire credibility. I have no reason to believe that Miss Jones wants him back other than to help her pay her bills. On the battery charge, Mr. Ham, it's up to you whether you want to accuse it as domestic violence based on what these two have just said. That is Ms. Jones and Mr. Herring. But his bond is going to be $3,500. It's going to be a surety bond through pretrial services level 3. He will
That's a signature bond. Signature bond.
Yes, signature bond. So did I say surety? Sorry, signature bond through pretrial services level 3. He will report to pretrial once a week. Within 30 days of being released, he will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program and must show proof of enrollment to his pretrial officer by his 4th or 5th visit. He will attend and complete all 26 weekly classes to completion with no skips and provide the certificate to his pretrial officer. No illegal drugs, no alcoholic beverages, and no weapons and no firearms. He will be subject to random screens for drugs and alcohol. His next court date will be mailed to his address at 4602 Newcastle Circle in Stonecrest, Georgia, 30038. Upon being released, if he changes his address, he needs to update the court in writing with the court immediately. His address cannot be the Bachelor Street location because he'll be required to stay away from that location. No contact with Aisha Jones. He's to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, including in person, mail, email, phone, and so forth. And he's to stay away from her address, which is the Bachelor Street location listed in the warrant. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position number 8.
Ms. Jones, you're free to go. This is Mark Rezkeller, accused of theft by shoplifting from September 12th, 2024. And Mr. Rezkeller, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Haddad. And with regards to Mr. Rezkeller, I understand that this is his first arrest. Mr. Ham, any recommendation?
Signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from all Walmarts, Your Honor.
All of them?
Yes, Your Honor. He's apparently has been shoplifting from Walmart at 97 Mansell Road for approximately a year. He was just recently identified and caught. So, yes.
All right. Any objection to the stay away, Mr. Haddad?
No, Judge.
All right. Theft by shoplifting is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And Mr. Reskeller, from this point onwards, you're not allowed into any Walmart store that exists. I think there are a billion of them, so they shouldn't be too hard to miss. Thank you. Next court date is going to be sent to your current mailing address.
Number 7, position number 7.
This is State versus Malik Raymond Paulson, accused of battery against a female who is pregnant and battery family violence from December 13th, 2024. Case number is 24 CR 8148G. Mr. Paulson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Haddad. I understand this is Mr. Paulson's 4th arrest cycle. Anything else to add, Mr. Howard?
2024 shoplifting, 2023 battery resisting disorderly conduct, and a 2023 burglary and theft.
Thank you. Mr. Hamp?
Yes, Your Honor. State's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohols, or weapons, no contact with the victim, Shane Flores, SHYAN Flores, and Family Violence Intervention Program. This incident stems from an incident that happened these charges stem from an incident that happened on December 13, 2024, where the victim in this case indicated that she was getting a checkup on her baby who was soon to be born. He came to the hospital. They were in delivery department. They got into a dispute because she had just texted someone and refused to give him the phone. He then slapped her in the face and left a red rash on her cheek. The nurse came into the incident and she saw the victim holding her face, Your Honor. So based upon those facts, we're asking for that bond amount, Your Honor. And if we can sound for Shane Flores.
Ms. Flores, if you're on Zoom, this is the time to unmute and start your video. All right. Mr. Haddad?
Your Honor, my client is 19 years of age, Judge. He works, he's a graduate, high school graduate. He indicates to me that he has a job working through the insurance industry, Judge. Limited income nonetheless, Judge. I would ask the court to consider a stay away is not an issue. The parties do not live together. And I would, in fact, probably better to have a stay away. I would just ask the court to consider a pretrial services with the associated counseling classes, Judge.
Thank you. On the battery against a female who is pregnant, that's going to be a $1,500 surety bond. On the battery family violence, that's going to be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. His total bond is going to be a $4,000 split bond. No further contact with the victim to stay away from where she lives. And if he plans to have any visitation with the child that he shares with Ms. Flores, he is to file a legitimation action with the Superior Court and get a court order for visitation, custody, and child support. Otherwise, he's to stay away from Shane Flores and her child until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And within 30 days of being released on bond, he will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program where he will complete all classes and present his certificate of completion. Mr. Paulson, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the case, your statements can and will be used against you. If you choose to waive your right to remain silent, then that's up to you and your attorney. Please unmute courtroom 2.
I have the job I work is commission, and I've only been working there around 2 months, maybe a month and a half, and I gave her all of my money. I can't currently pay for the assurance bond, but that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. The bond's going to remain as it is, and your next court date is going to be December 26th. Please make sure that you do not try to communicate with Ms. Flores from the jail because the prosecution does monitor all jail calls. If you are trying to reach to Ms. Flores, they will report that to the court and your bond could be revoked. Thank you.
Position number 5, please.
Is it Isidro Joselito? Is that correct? Mr. Isidro, do you speak English, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Joselito Isidro, you are accused of pointing or aiming a gun or pistol at another from May 7th, 2024, under accusation number 24 CR 8147E. You have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Madison. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
No.
All right. Mr. Ham?
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is it's $10,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, who is present on the Zoom, Griffin. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, Kasperzak. Anger awareness classes, Your Honor. The nature of this incident took place on May 7, 2024, around a location of Windward Parkways and McGinnis Ferry Road in Alpharetta. They responded to a phone call regarding a road rage incident that met with the victim. He explained that while he was traveling west on McGinley Ferris, the defendant pulled up beside him and pointed a pistol at him. He said that once he turns into Windward Parkway, the suspect then continued to follow him and pointed the firearm on multiple occasions towards him. He said once they got into a different street, Union Hill Road, he then turned right onto Union Hill Road and he lost sight of him. He was able to identify the defendant as the person who was pointing the pistol at him. He indicated that this happened. He followed him for approximately 4 minutes, pointing the pistol at him as he was driving, Your Honor. And if we can sound for Mr. Kasperzak, Your Honor.
Griffin Kasperzak, if you want to contribute to this proceedings, you need to unmute and start your video.
Hello?
Mr. Kasperzak, all I can see, all right, thank you.
Can you see me?
Yeah, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what would you like to tell us?
Would you like to know like what happened? I mean,
You see
throughout
the individual in which you had the encounter on the Zoom screen?
Excuse me?
Do you see the individual with whom you had the encounter on the Zoom panel?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened that day?
What happened that day is that I was going to my grandparents, and I was following the defendant, and when I was turning onto Windward Parkway, he was in the far right lane going straight, and then right when I went up to him, like to the turn, I looked and I saw his window down and a gun pointing at me. And then the light was green and I took the left, and then he swerved into behind me and was chasing me through Windward Parkway, trying to get beside me, aiming the gun at me for a long amount of times. And it was like a high speed chase. And then I turned on Union Hill, and that's when I lost sight of him.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Ham, do you have any questions of the alleged victim?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Madison, do you have any questions of the alleged victim?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Madison, what's your recommendation?
Your Honor, we're hoping that you would consider a signature bond. My client is 53 years old. He works as a recruiter for a company called Agency Fi, providing Medicare services. It's a completely commission-based role. He currently has 3 children, one of which is a minor, 12 years old, which is dependent on him for income. If Your Honor would require a surety bond, Your Honor, he wouldn't be able to actually afford it. So we're hoping that you would consider granting a signature bond. Also, my client's take on what happened the day of the incident is completely different. It's his position that he did record the other vehicle to the incident and attempted to send it to the investigating detective. However, the file was too large for him to send, and so he wasn't able to send it. So we're hoping you would consider a signature bond so that he can be released, so that we can obtain that evidence and hand it over to the state so they could consider dismissing this charge. And again, he wouldn't be able to afford the surety bond, Your Honor.
What's the name of the town where your client lives?
I believe he lives in Alpharetta, Your Honor. Mr. Isidro, is that correct? Don't you live in Alpharetta?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's Arbor Green Trail. What's the name of the city?
Yes, ma'am. Alpharetta, Cherokee County.
Is it called Cherokee County Fire?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Your Honor.
So it's Alpharetta, but in Cherokee County.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what's the zip code?
30004.
All right, Mr. Jordan, looks like we have to change his address also on Odyssey. Oh, no, it's correct. Okay, we got it correct then. All right, thank you. Looks like police report had a strange address. Okay, on the pointing or aiming a gun or pistol another, that's $1,000 surety. Next court date is December 26th. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and definitely no weapons and no firearms. Mr. Isidoro, you will have to surrender your firearms to the local police for destruction. And until this case is resolved, that's the only time that you will be able to possess a firearm after that.
It was the cell phone, ma'am. Your Honor, isn't it?
I don't know that, sir. I'm just going by the warrant. The warrant says it was a firearm. You have to surrender your firearm until this case is resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I think, do we have 1, 2, 3? I think we're done. No, we have Brianna Beard. Where is she?
Number one, position number one, she's gonna be a site observation reset again.
So this is going to be reset to Monday, December 16th at 2 p.m. All right. Is anyone here for Brianna Beard? All right, Miss Evans, if you unmute, what would you like to tell us?
Yes,
She's not available today.
she's not.
Mm-mm.
So why did nobody tell me this? Because I've been sitting
I'm
around.
telling you now. I just found out myself.
Okay, so wait until Monday.
Monday, 2 p.m.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you. All right, so Brianna Beard, position 1 is reset to December 16th at 2 p.m. Position 2, Dorsey is a 2,500 surety, reset December 26th. Position 3, Gallup is a 3,500 signature bond for pretrial level 2 with a DBIP. 4, Herring is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial level 3 with a DBIP. Isidro is a $1,000 surety, reset December 26th. Patterson's 1,500 surety, reset 12/26. Position 7, Paulson's a $4,000 split bond, reset December 26th with DBIP requirement. 8, Reskeller is a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 2,000 signature bond to pretrial level 1 for the notice. Positions 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 with Reagan Rowland. It's going to be $1,000 signature bond to pretrial level 3 with a BHET requirement within 15 days and stay away from all target stores. Mr. McGee, you need to start your video and unmute yourself, and we'll be with you shortly. 16, Stetsuk is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 with a DBIP requirement. No, 3,000 signature bond. So yeah, 1,500 in each count. 17, Miss Two Bulls is a $5,000 split bond, $5,500 split bond. Reset date is December 26th.
Break that one down.
Sure. On the public drunkenness is going to be $1,000 surety. Disorderly conduct is 1,500, and willful obstruction is 1,500, and terroristic threats is 1,500.
Thank you.
Mr. McGee, are you driving?
No, ma'am, I'm sitting in my vehicle.
Which case were you inquiring about?
I was told to be here at 2 today for my son, Marion Green, from the jail. I live in Columbia, South Carolina. I spoke with them on Friday. They told me his court date was today at 2.
Marion Green. Does anybody know anyone thing about a Green? I don't have.
Case was dismissed, Judge.
We dismissed the charges against your son. So your son should be released from the jail soon.
Okay. I apologize. No one let me know, so I apologize again.
All right. It's all done.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, folks? All right. And then everyone enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yes, Mr. Jordan?
We did have a Malik Brown on the pull sheet, but we didn't receive an accusation for that case, so that case is going to be reset to Monday.
Mr. Ham, are we still pursuing a Malik Brown?
We are, Your Honor. We have warrants against him now. We're just waiting for it to be uploaded in the system, and then we will transfer this over to Superior Court.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we might see him Monday at 2 p.m. on December 16th, or possibly 11 a.m. before felony first appearance.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Any others, Mr. Jordan? We good?
That's it, Judge. We're all good.
All right, folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.